Hi, Professor Boult here with this week's overview video about this week's assignments and a little bit of feedback on things I've seen so far. So I'm going to start with making it clear. This week you have one of your most important, although very short, assignments. You are choosing your team. Your team affects a lot of what you'll be doing for the rest of the semester, and I want you to take this seriously because you're not going to get to change your team. You don't get to drop off of a team. The only way to get out of a team is to drop the course, which is not really what I would encourage people to do. So you're looking for a compatible group of people. And I'll talk a little bit about some ways you might try and make that process a little bit better. But the instructions for the assignment, which I will now jump to, are relatively clear on what you're going to be doing. So first, you have to post directly or in reply with 1 to 2 sentences about your goal for the team course, including business ideas, directions you want to pursue. Some of the previous assignments you had to post first. This one I'm not going to make you post first just because you might just want to look through and see what everyone else is doing. Okay. Importantly, not only are you looking for what is your course, what are your goals for the course, you also want to look at what are the times are available. You have to list at least 5 one-hour blocks that you would be regularly available for regularly scheduled teams meetings online. Ideally, that's not going to be one day, so if you're available every evening after 6, that's pretty generous. That's fine. You have plenty of time. But if you have a more complicated schedule, make it clear what times you can meet, because your team will have to meet regularly, once a week at least, ideally twice a week, as you work throughout the semester. So you need to find the time when all of you can do. Well, this course is asynchronous. That doesn't mean there's never any meetings. You'll have to make those work out. So as you go through this discussion, you're going to find a team of 4. And once you have all 4 team members, you need to go back in, right? And in this list all the 4 team members. Somebody's going to take the lead and say, okay, we're looking for our team of 4, and we have Bobby, Susie, Nancy, and Sam. That's our 4 people. And then each of those 4 people have to post a message after that saying they agree to be on that team. Agreement to be on a team is a two-way street. Everyone's saying, I want to be on that team at the same time. Okay, they're open. It's actually been open for a week. But it's due by the 13th, and by the 14th, I will make assignments of all the students. Now, in Canvas, it actually has an assignment. This is actually due on the 9th, because I want your first post to be this by tomorrow. So get your first post in very quickly. Actually, I think I am changing that. Can't see from here. I might have changed that, but get your first post in there so that everyone has a chance to sort of see what's going on. Now, when you're going to go through this, it doesn't really matter if you don't have a business idea. You still have to post. Your post might be, actually, as one of these already says, right? He wants to do well in the class. So this is from Travis. He doesn't have any business ideas. He's interested in computer science sustainability. He's going to do what it takes to do well in this, and he's free after 7 every day, right? So that's a perfectly good initial post. But you have to then go back in and start looking at other people. If everyone posts a description about themselves and no one talks about joining a team, then we'll have a whole bunch of people who will be randomly assigned on the 14th. Okay, and you don't really want that, because when I do the random assignment, it will be literally random. I'll have the computer just go ahead and assign people. It won't look at the times. So try and find people that share interests, passions, and times, because that's where we had the most conflicts when we had this before. Okay, this is also an open discussion forum to discuss possible team ideas, anything else you want to do, but you are at least expected to do the information that I just talked about. When you're looking at this, okay, scheduling your job is probably one of the most important things, but interests are also important. If you actually have a business that's ongoing or a startup you really want to pursue, that's perfectly fine, but you have to remember that developing ideas and working the project is for everyone in this class, so there might be some joint ownership issues in terms of intellectual property and who owns what if you add others to your project. So if you're doing that, be very explicit about what your expectations are. No one has to sign up for a project with somebody who says, I'm going to own everything that happens when we're done. But if you don't care, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to give away all of the things you do this semester to somebody who wants to make this into a for-profit business or into a sustainable not-for-profit business. That's perfectly fine. You can do whatever you want with it, but I will not assign anyone to a project. Now, the other thing, and I'll probably go ahead and update this, I already had one question by email. What happens if your team has multiple ideas or not enough ideas? This is not a statement about what is your team's business idea. Even if one person lists their business idea here and no one else in the team says they have an idea, that doesn't mean that that's a business idea you're going to pursue. your first meetings. You're going to start getting into analyzing the business ideas, and then you might end up saying, okay, we're not actually following that idea because we found these problems, and you'll be able to pivot and change ideas. The team is for the semester. The ideas last only as long as they are sustainable in terms of their validation. If you find things that invalidate the idea, that may be okay. One suggestion I might have for those who are not sure is if you have a couple of ideas, you can list a couple. If you have none, you can say none, but you can sort of give general ideas, as the one example I just showed you, sort of computer science or sustainability, the things that excite them the most. The more excited you are, the better you'll probably be at following through on a project. So something else you might want to do, and I noticed from the posts on this last discussion, many of you are extremely narrow. You went in and you posted on very narrow topics, and that suggested you have a focus. That's perfectly fine. If you're not sure what you're looking for, I encourage you to go through and read through these solution and business ideas, because they may help give you ideas of someone that you want to partner with. As I said, you can't all just post, I'm looking for teammates. You might actually have to go to somebody else's post and reply. So looking through the solutions business idea might give you an idea of somebody to look for their post and reply to them. You don't actually have to reply. You can also, by going over here, you can directly mail students inside the system and sort of have an offline conversation. That's perfectly fine, but in the team formation discussion, you eventually have to post a bunch of that stuff so that we can sort of see what's going on. So if we go back to the modules for this week, so the team formation. So the other thing, and it started last week when it was posted, but it goes until February 23rd, is the sustainability paper. So this is something I already talked about in one of the other videos in some detail, but I want to make it clear, this is due February 23rd, so this is one of the things you should be working on this week. The team formation is important, but it actually isn't that time consuming. Start working on your sustainability paper. Again, the assignment has the details, there's some things to watch. Okay, when you're graded, and the one thing that's different from what I had in the video is there's now a 9th section, and I want you to think about one of your team's business ideas or your ideas, right, as it currently stands, whatever that is, from the view of sustainability. So this is not just go analyze existing companies. I want you to spend a little time thinking about your ideas that you're going to pursue this semester from a view of sustainability. Doesn't matter if it's what your team ends up following or not. I just want you to think about it. It's fine if it's the idea of the team you're joining. It's also fine if it's one of the ideas that your team never follows through. That's perfectly fine. I just wanted to add that to discussion to make it a little bit more personal in terms of where you're going with the sustainability. So let's go back. Okay. So the quizzes this week, you already hit the sustainability items and the design thinking. I didn't do a separate video on design thinking. The chapter does a pretty good job at it. I'm actually, my view of design thinking is that it's as much about a different way of, or different terminology for general innovation processes, but it is very user-centric, which is consistent with what we're doing in this class. So it's something you can go ahead and do. And I might do a short video about it later on today and still go ahead and post that. For next week, and this is important because it also relates back to the sustainability paper, right? There's a bunch of stuff that isn't in the book. I did not like the book's treatment of intellectual property. And so, although chapter 15 is about intellectual property, I posted a whole bunch more on my video playlist with stuff from a group we've worked with who made some nice videos. And then I have my own little IP video. The reason I put this in now so early is because this might affect what you want to do on a team, depending on who's going to own that intellectual property. You need to understand what that stuff is, so that you can't make informed decisions about whether or not you're willing to join with somebody who wants to pursue their business. Last semester, 2 of the projects we worked on, one was an already existing business, one was a business the guy who's been thinking about, he already had prototypes and whatever developed, but hadn't gone far enough along. So it's very important that you think about that as well. So as you read next week's, and you're wondering, why is this out of order? It's out of order because it may affect what you want to do on your teaming. So that's a short interview. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me on Teams or by email. I have not gotten a lot of communication from people. I hope that means everything's going well and that you're coasting along. The things I've seen in the discussions have been pretty good discussions, so I'm not going to say we need to change anything right now. So, I will be adding some other videos for next week. There's one not yet posted that I want to talk about. There will be no assignment related to that video. Right away, the stuff from that video will show up a week later. So keep on top of things and get working on forming your teams. I did notice that the date for the team formation discussion is February 12th. That's at midnight, so that gives me a little bit of time to prod people and to go through, and then on the 14th, I will go ahead and make those assignments. So you'll lose some points if you don't get the discussion in on time, but you can still, on the 13th, if you forgot, sign up for a team before I make random assignments. So, thank you.